From taking a bucket list cruise to Alaska for just a few $100 per person, to seeing the Caribbean for just $14 per day in cruise fare, I've done it. And now I'm sharing my techniques of cruising cheap with you, and trust me, it's way more than just picking some budget cruise line. Now, there's no arguing that cruising has gotten more expensive, but with the tips and the techniques that I'll share, you can make sure that you're not paying too much and you get the best deal possible. So let's get started. Before I get too far, I just want to say that if you like this video and it saves you some money, then I hope that you'll join the more than 100,000 subscribers to this channel. That said, I'm going to start with what I'm seeing in cruise pricing overall so that you have a lay of the land right now. From there, I'll get into my best advice for finding a cruise deal, moving up in importance on what can save you money. Anyone who cruises regularly knows that cruise prices, they have gone through the roof since the travel boom following the pause in 2020 and 2021. Those days of sailing dirt cheap, they are likely gone for now, and it seems that no matter what price a cruise line throws out there, someone seems willing to pay for it, driving up the pricing for all the rest of us. If there is a glimmer of hope, it's that I'm feeling that things are softening just a little bit. Now, it's anecdotal, but I am seeing some more aggressive marketing than I used to. And when I booked a cruise to Alaska just a couple months ago, there were some dirt cheap prices for late April and May that frankly I've never seen before. So yes, cruise pricing, it is still strong, but it seems to be coming in a little bit. The really good news is that it means that it's easier to find deals, especially if you know how to shop for your trip. They say that time is money, so let's begin with a tip that will save you some time when it comes to cruise shopping. That's the fact that you can stop going to every single website out there looking for a great deal. There are dozens, if not hundreds of websites where you can buy a cruise, from the cruise line's website to places that claim huge discounted fares. I've searched tons and tons of places online, and what I find is that they all have the exact same price no matter where you buy from. There's not some magic website where you can simply find cheaper deals. I will say that many people swear by travel agents and say that they can find better deals for you, so definitely don't shy away from them. But when it comes to booking websites, searching dozens of different places, it's really just a waste of time. I just book directly with the cruise line, though I do use aggregator sites to see all of my options before I narrow things down a bit. As well, Costco members, they can sometimes find good deals as well. But other than that, you don't have to worry that one site will have a better price than another. About 6 months ago, this way to get the best deal on a cruise, it would be later in my list because it was such a great offer. Today, it's great for certain lines, but not for others. I'm talking, of course, of AARP discounted gift cards. AARP, they offer discounted gift cards to members on their website for everything from restaurants to movie theaters. This includes some cruise line gift cards. They sell them for 10% off face value, so a $500 card, it's only $450. That's an instant 10% off the price of your cruise. So why not have this higher on the list? Well, it used to be that lines like Carnival and Princess in Holland America, they offered cards on AARP, but they've stopped selling them, which limits your options to just Royal Caribbean and Celebrity. So if you're sailing those lines, it is a great deal. You should take advantage. If not, then this tip won't actually save you any money. It makes sense that if you want the lowest price on a cruise, then yeah, you should buy it when it's on sale. But similar to how going from website to website doesn't change the price of a cruise, I can tell you that cruise line sales, they don't really matter that much either. Truth is that cruise lines, they run sales constantly. If you go to a line's website right now, you will see that some sales being advertised. I track them regularly, and often they are extended, or if a sale is ended, then it's only tweaked slightly before being reintroduced. You end up paying around the same price. Right now, ships are sailing full and at higher prices than they have in the past. While I am anecdotally seeing some possible softness, there's still little reason to drastically cut prices. Those sales, they're instead a psychological tool to get people to book instead of a discounting tool to actually fill up the cruise ships. So you can wait for a good sale, but chances are what you see is the best that you're going to get. What happens if you book a cruise and then there is actually a big sale, or more likely there's simply a price drop on that specific trip? That automatically means that you didn't get the best deal, right? Likely not. After you book your cruise, your work isn't over if you want the best price possible. You should continue to monitor the price of your trip to see if it does drop. You don't have to do it every day, but once every week or two is pretty smart. If it doesn't drop, then congratulations, that means that you got the best price that you could. If it does, however, fall, you want to contact the cruise line as soon as you can. Some fares have protections for price drops built into them, but even if yours doesn't, you still want to give them a call. Often you'll find that the cruise line, they will work with you. It's not all the time, but it can be that they refund the difference or give you the onboard credit in the amount of the price drop. Again, this does not always work, but for the 5 or 10 minutes that you'll spend to ask, it is well worth it. So far, I've covered some decent tips to save time and money on booking your cruise, but if you want the absolute best deals, then the next few tips are really the heart of what you need to know. That starts with the fact that the cheapest cruises that you'll find, they're on older ships. You can often sail a similar length and itinerary as a newer ship, but for drastically cheaper. For example, here's a trip aboard Royal Caribbean's Freedom of the Seas, which is an older ship, and it's sailing for 8 nights to the Eastern Caribbean in June of 2026. It starts around $1,500 per person. But a similar trip on Star of the Seas, its newest ship, for only 7 nights, it starts at around $2,250. Now, there's no arguing that this is a different experience on these two separate ships, but if you're mostly worried about getting the best deal and you want to only get to sea, then there's no doubt that an older ship will be where the deals are. We all have our favorite cruise lines, and for many, loyalty and the perks that come with it, they're a big deal. But if you want the best deals possible, then you have to open up your sailing across multiple lines. That's one reason why I've spent hundreds of days at sea, but I'm not really high on any single cruise line's loyalty program. I definitely spread out my sailings among different cruise lines. Now, there are some lines like MSC and Carnival, they tend to be less expensive than others, but you can also find some good deals on those other lines that maybe you thought were too expensive for you. For instance, last summer, I found a deal on Celebrity that was just as cheap as anything you'd find from a budget line. No surprise, it was on an older ship in the fleet. To search across different cruise lines, I like to use aggregator sites like Orbitz that list all of the cruise lines' offerings. That can help you narrow down what's offered across lines during the time that you can sail. Then I usually book directly with the cruise line to cut out any middleman in the process should I need to change anything with the booking later on. The absolute best deals that I found on cruises, they should likely come with an asterisk next to them because they certainly are not for everyone. If you can make them work, however, you are getting a wildly good deal. I'm talking about one-way or repositioning cruises. Most people think of cruises as round trips, and the vast majority of them are round trip from port to port. But then there are times where a ship repositions from one home port to another. They don't want to sail empty, so they still sell that as a cruise. But because people still have to figure out how to get back home, there usually isn't that big of demand for them. Low demand means lower prices. Royal Caribbean has a 14-night cruise across the Atlantic starting at just $900 per person. On NCL, you can sail for 10 days from Portugal to Puerto Rico with stops in the Virgin Islands as well for about $700. Yes, you do have to figure out transport back home, but you won't find a better deal in cruising. So I've talked a lot about getting the best prices on your cruise, but if you want to get the absolute best deal, there's one thing that towers over everything else when it comes to what you'll pay. It's all about when you sail. Now, I know that not everyone has the ability to sail whenever they want, but if you do have that flexibility, then you'll save tons. Trips to the Caribbean in the summer, they could be hundreds or even thousands of dollars more per person than the exact same trip taking during the fall or the spring. When it comes to Alaska, trips in the shoulder months of May or September, they are way less than sailing during the peak in June or July. It really comes down to simple supply and demand. In times like the summer or the Christmas holidays, for example, more people, they have time off work and kids have time off school. That makes going on a family vacation much, much easier. And with more demand, cruise prices, they rise to compensate. Times like January or February or September through November, they see fewer people being able to take off work, and you'll find that prices drop accordingly. If you're flexible with your dates, it's by far the easiest way to ensure that you get the best price on your cruise. Thank you for watching, but before you go, I hope that you can help out the other people that are watching this video. What is your favorite tip to getting the best deal on a cruise? Please put it in the comments below so that we can all learn more. As well, if you found this video helpful, then I hope that you'll subscribe to the channel, and you can always find more information on saving during your cruise at Cruzely.com. Until next time, happy sailing.